AWS Privileged Account Management, AWS Just-In-Time Access. Privileged Account Management, PAM, on Amazon Web Services, AWS, refers to the processes and tools used to manage and control access to accounts with elevated privileges, such as admin accounts or root accounts, which have significant power and can access critical resources. Proper management of these accounts is crucial for maintaining security and preventing unauthorized access. Key components of Privileged Account Management in AWS. 1. Root Account Management. The AWS root account has full access to all services and resources in the AWS environment. Best practices include limiting usage, use the root account only for essential tasks, example initial account setup, billing. Securing credentials, enable multi-factor authentication, MFA, and never share root credentials. Delegating tasks, use IAM, identity and access management, users or roles instead of the root account for day-to-day activities. 2. Identity and access management, IAM. IAM allows you to create and manage AWS users and permissions for resources. Principle of least privilege, ensure that users, roles, and services have the minimum permissions needed to perform their tasks. Groups and policies, define policies for user groups, allowing them only certain actions, example S3 read access, while restricting others. IAM roles, assign temporary permissions to services or users, enabling them to access resources without exposing permanent credentials. 3. Multi-factor authentication, MFA, enforce MFA for accounts with elevated privileges, root, administrators, to add a layer of security. This ensures that even if credentials are compromised, unauthorized access is mitigated. 4. AWS Organizations and Service Control Policies, SCP, if you manage multiple AWS accounts, AWS organizations can be used to centrally manage and enforce policies across accounts. SCPs define permission boundaries for accounts within an organization, preventing unauthorized access even by privileged users within those accounts. 5. Access Control Monitoring, AWS CloudTrail, tracks and logs all account activities and API calls, allowing you to monitor actions performed by privileged accounts. AWS Config, tracks the configuration of AWS resources and notifies you when they deviate from predefined rules, providing visibility into changes made by privileged users. AWS Guard Duty, detects suspicious activities or unauthorized access attempts, such as attempts to escalate privileges. 6. Temporary Access Tokens, use temporary tokens generated by AWS Security Token Service, STS, for privileged access. This approach limits the risk associated with long-term credentials. 7. Secrets Manager and Systems Manager Parameter Store, manage sensitive information such as access keys, passwords, and database credentials securely using AWS Secrets Manager or the Parameter Store, ensuring that privileged credentials are rotated and securely stored. 8. Automating Privileged Account Management, use automation and policy-driven solutions to ensure consistent application of security policies for privileged accounts. AWS Control Tower, a service that automates the setup of a secure and compliant AWS environment by enforcing best practices for account management, including privileged accounts. Best practices for AWS Privileged Account Management. 1. Minimize root account usage, use the root account only for necessary tasks and delegate everything else to IAM users and roles. 2. Enforce MFA, require MFA for all privileged accounts. 3. Adopt least privilege principle, assign the minimal set of permissions needed to users and roles. 4. Monitor account activity, use tools like CloudTrail and Guard Duty to track and respond to any suspicious activities. 5. Regularly rotate credentials, ensure that access keys and passwords for privileged accounts are regularly rotated and securely managed. 6. Review permissions frequently, periodically review IAM roles and policies to ensure they align with current security needs. By following these practices, you can significantly reduce the risk of unauthorized access to privileged AWS resources and ensure compliance with security standards.